Jake Paul is a dangerous fighter, not just because he has been fighting for over 5 years, but over that period, he has done many things that has led him to be one. And with his current boxing skill, he might even beat KSI. And as I was analyzing every single boxing match of Jake, I realized something which made his new boxing style totally different from the older one. But to understand that, we have to travel to the past, into Jake Paul's first match with Deji, which if we compare to the current Jake Paul already shows us the difference. But even in this time, Jake had something special about him. And no, I'm not talking about his boxing skills, but his will to never give up. And as corny as that sounds, this has helped Jake Paul tremendously to become a successful boxer. Even after breaking his nose and bleeding, he still went on with the match. Eventually, Jake had more cardio, which led him to win. Now, if we compare this match to the current standard of YouTube, we will laugh. But if we go 5 years back, then this match was considered crazy. Come on, Deji, let's go! Come on, knock him out. But the second match of Jake against Gib, who was a friend of KSI, was the time he really changed. And even though it was a one-round match and Gib was no match for Jake, the points to consider in this match was Jake's hitting capability. Just from swinging randomly to hitting accurate jabs, he really changed his boxing style. This match also shocked KSI, blowing everybody's expectation. And this was the point from which Jake Paul's internet personality started to change. From being a funny, or should I say loud, crazy, cringy, to a more adult-catered video-making YouTuber, he really changed. Now, all these videos from the surface might look like a simple vlog, but it might have been a calculated move from Jake Paul, as his fights were not with most widely known people like Nate Robinson. Bro, I did not even know who this guy was until he fought Jake Paul. So how did he create hype for his fight? By making music video. Not just any music video, the cringy wannabe gangster type music video. As if Everyday Bro was not enough, but that did get him the attention he needed. And he was also beefing with KSI, which we'll talk in a moment. And by adding all this got him the title of the most hated YouTuber on YouTube. And what happens when you hate someone? You want to see them lose. So at least people watched his match just to see him lose. And from his last fight with Gib, there was no major improvement in this match, considering he was fighting a basketball player. But his next opponent was a major improvement and was a really big challenge for Jake Paul. Like literally, look at this man's size. Bro thought it was a sumo tournament or something. I mean, look at Jake Paul. Even before the match started, I knew Jake was going to win, which he did, but the upcoming 3 matches was the turning point for Jake, as his improvement on each match goes off the roof. Now in his match with Tyron Woodley, both part 1 and 2, we could clearly see the power in his punch. It looked lethal, and let's be honest, this match was way more interesting than his brother Logan's match with Floyd Mayweather, which was half hugging. And the interesting thing about Jake Paul is, even though he was fighting not so famous fighter, he was still able to maintain the hype, and it was all thanks to KSI. This guy has really helped Jake, and they say they hate each other, which I doubt, cause KSI said he hated Logan Paul. Fuck you, Logan! Now they own a drink company together, so I will not be surprised after Jake and KSI's fight, they open a boxing company together called Rhyme. You know, because it rhymes with crime. So due to his hated personality online and his beef with KSI, who has a really large fan base, he always had a group of people who watched his fight just to see him lose. And his attention-grabbing style were similar to Conor McGregor, who is a really big UFC fighter, and we know Conor for doing dumb things like this. And these things does create hype, leading to more ticket sales and money. And Jake also used this tactic for calling Conor McGregor.
What the f is up, you Irish? Connor, you're scared. Sign the fucking contract, you idiots.
Now that video was a really stupid move from Jake Paul, and that's the exact reason why it went viral. It went so viral that even Andrew Tate responded to it.
Jake Paul, you are desperate for a reality check. If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. Any day, anytime, let's go.
Now we will get on that topic later, but first we need to focus on this, that Conor did not respond, not even a single tweet to Jake at all. And that's the exact reason Jake had to pivot to a smaller fish, Nate Robinson. But in this fight as well, Jake proved us that he was improving a lot. My man literally one-punched Nate to sleep. And after this fight, some of Jake Paul's haters even started thinking that he might not actually be all talk. But the fight Jake improved aggressively on was on his next one, which was against Anderson Silva, who was a former UFC champion respected by a lot of players. Through this match, we knew Jake had improved a lot, like his ability to withstand punches and avoid getting punched using head movements. But these are the skills which really helped him against Tommy Fury, where he got hit a lot with not just simple hits, but lethal hits, but he withstood them all. And this fight was a really big upgrade for Jake Paul, because in this one he actually fought a non-retired boxer, which he ended up losing. But by seeing Jake's recent fight, we might say that he could actually beat KSI, because Jake's recent fight with Tommy Fury, we could see his skill level against actual boxers. Whereas we look at KSI's fight line, it has not been that great. Temper, Swarms, Joe Fournier, and let's be honest, if Joe Fournier and Tommy Fury fought, then Tommy Fury will easily win that match. So in comparison to KSI, Jake has fought more experienced fighter. So unless KSI fights Tommy Fury or someone better than him, like Mike Tyson,
I could take on Mike Tyson.
and I don't think he could beat Tyson considering his size difference, but that's just normal KSI with a bit overhyped ego. And there's also the reason why Andrew Tate thinks that Jake Paul is the most talented boxer in YouTube boxing space. Cause let's zoom out a bit and see both of these players' boxing history. Well, Jake Paul has fought more experienced fighter than KSI, so of course the Sparkling Water King thinks Jake will win. And people don't think how much of a difference this fight really was, considering Tommy has been boxing since he was a kid, whereas Jake started in his 20s. And even with that 20 years gap, Tommy was not able to knock out Jake, which is mad. And Jake is not the only one who's improving. KSI also has his new boxing style. So let's compare KSI and Jake's boxing style and see why Jake could beat KSI. Because KSI's boxing style leaves him open a lot of the time. His hands are mostly down, not guarding his face. But that does gives him that quick explosive power, which if Jake can't guard in time, could mean a problem to him. So will the quick, explosive and hard to predict style of KSI win, or the calm, defensive and tactical style of Jake win? Because in terms of speed, KSI will easily win. And in terms of defense, Jake is pretty much unknockable. But this is the point where Jake takes the lead on KSI, and it's because of the age difference. KSI just turned 30 and Jake is still 26, and in boxing, the more younger you are, the faster your reflexes. So the longer it takes for this match to happen, the more disadvantage KSI is going to be in. And that is why I think Jake Paul will win. And watch this video where I make KSI and Jake's Tinder account to see who can get more girls. It's really interesting to see the winner. I was really shocked.